Hi students, today we're going to talk about finding radius and diameter when you have the area. So we talked about this briefly yesterday, but we're going to go into more depth today. So you need your note packet. I'm on this page that says finding radius and diameter. When given area, you need a calculator, pencil. If you don't have your note packet, just take out a piece of paper. There's not much to copy down. Just take out a piece of paper and copy down as we go. So once you have all your materials, let's get started. So this is kind of working backwards when you have the area. So you know the amount of space inside the circle and you have to work backwards to find the radius. So remember our formula from the day before. When you have area of a circle, our formula for area is pi times radius squared. So we always start with our formula. So like on this first one, we know that the area inside this circle is 314 centimeters squared. So I would always start with the formula. Write the formula, area equals pi times radius squared. Then we substitute in the numbers that we know. So we know the area. So we're going to put in 314. We always know pi. We're just going to do 3.14. We do not know the radius, so I'm going to just leave that as r squared. Now we're going to use our awesome algebra solving skills. We are trying to get radius by itself. Currently, radius is being multiplied by pi, and so to get rid of it, if they're multiplying by pi, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to divide by pi. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So I'm going to take 314 and divide by pi, which of course leaves me with 100. So 100 equals, and then the thing I'm left with on this side of the equation is r squared. Now, I don't want r squared, I want just r, I want radius. So I could just think, okay, what number squared equals 100? What number times itself equals 100? Or I could think about what is the process, what unsquares a number. So we talked briefly about this, but to unsquare, I don't know if that's a very mathematical term, but to unsquare a number, you take the square root. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides because whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. When you take the square root of r squared, you're left with r, which is what we want. And then the square root of 100, that means what number times itself equals 100. If you put that in your calculator, I showed you yesterday how to find that square root button on your calculator. The square root of 100 is 10. So the radius is 10. So that means from the middle of the circle to an outside edge is 10. If halfway across the circle is 10, then I know the diameter is twice that, which would be 20. And the units here were centimeters. Okay? Let's move to the second one. So here we are given the area is 1,962.5. So again, I'm going to start with my formula. Area equals pi times radius squared. Second step is to plug in the numbers we know. We know the area, 1,962.5 equals pi is 3.14. I do not know r squared, so I'm going to leave that. To start to solve this equation, I want to get radius squared by itself. To get rid of pi on this side, I'm going to divide by pi. So in your calculator, 1,962.5 divided by pi gives us 625. So 625 equals the radius squared. Again, that's not the radius. I have to get rid of that squared. To unsquare a number, we take the square root. Whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. So to take the square root of r squared leaves me r, which is what I want. And then the square root of 625, we would put that in our calculator. It's oftentimes that second button on your calculator. Square root of 625 is 25. So the radius of this circle is 25, which means halfway across this circle is 25, which means all the way across that circle would be 50. And this one was also centimeters. Okay, you try number 3, pause the video, everybody try number 3 on your own, and then unpause when you are ready. Okay, hopefully you paused the video and are ready to see how you did on number 3. So we start with our formula. Area is equal to pi times radius squared. We know the area, 153.86 equals pi is 3.14 times radius squared. To start to solve this problem, we need to get r squared by itself. It's being multiplied by pi. To undo that, we're going to divide by pi. So 153.86 divided by pi gives us 49. So 49 equals the radius squared. You may already know what number multiplied by itself equals 49, and if so, that's great. If you're not sure, then to unsquare something, we take the square root. Square root of 49 is 7. So you should have gotten a radius of 7, which makes a diameter of 14. Okay. All right, you try number 4 now. Pause the video and come back to it once you all have it. Okay, for number 4, we would have started with our formula. Plug in our numbers. To get rid of pi, we're going to divide both sides by pi. Ended up with 144 equals radius squared. Again, you may know what number times itself equals 144. If you do not, take the square root of both sides to get radius by itself, and then you would end up with 12. So this circle has a radius of 12. If halfway across the circle is 12, all the way across the circle would be 24 centimeters. Okay. Now let's look at the 2 word problems, number 5 and number 6. Okay, number 5 says a circular rug covers 1,519.76 square inches. What is the diameter? Okay, so this is just a word problem that's telling you exactly what those other ones said. If the rug covers this amount of square inches, that is the area. So if we start with our formula, plug in what we know the area. We always know pi. We are trying to find this time the diameter, but I can't just jump right to the diameter. With my formula, I have to get the radius first. So I'm going to do that first. Formula first, plug in what you know. To start to solve, we're going to divide by pi. Got 484 equals the radius squared. And when you take the square root of 484, I got 22. So if you think about that rug, it has a radius of 22 inches, but it's asking for the diameter. So all the way across that rug would be twice that. So we've got 44 inches of diameter. Okay, you try number 6. Pause the video, try number 6, and then unpause when you are ready. Okay, for number 6, a swimming pool has an area of 660.185 square feet. What is the diameter? So start with your formula. Area equals pi times radius squared. You should have all this work on your paper. You should not just be trying to do this on a calculator. You should always have the formula, the numbers, the work, and the solution. So start with the formula. Plug in the numbers that you know. I know the area of the pool. I know pi. I do not know the radius, so I'm going to leave that. To solve for the radius, I'm going to divide by pi. 68.185 divided by pi gives me 210.25 is the radius squared. Give myself some more room here. Then to unsquare that radius, I'm going to take the square root of 210.25, and I got 14.5 is the radius. Again, that's not the question though. The question is what's the diameter? So I've got this circular pool that has a radius of 14.5 feet. So diameter is all the way across. So if I double that 14.5, I get a diameter of 29 feet. Pat yourself on the back if you got that one right. Now you are going to do some practice. Good luck.